Have you ever wondered if it's possible to, well, to know things without your regular five senses? It's a massive question, right? Today, we're going to look at two totally different ways people are trying to find an answer, one through science and the other through something a little more spiritual.
So let's just cut right to the chase. Here's the big one. Can our minds actually pick up on information without using our eyes, ears, nose, you name it? This isn't a new question, of course. People have been asking this for ages, and it's really the heart of everything we're going to explore. To get our heads around this, we're going to look at it from two completely different angles. On one hand, you have the cold, hard, data-driven world of science looking for solid proof. And on the other, you have the deeply personal, internal world of the psychic who's focused on honing a skill.
And wow, these two pictures just nail that difference, don't they? On the left, you've got this clinical, high-tech brain scan, the tool science uses to map out what's physically happening inside our heads. And on the right, that mystical eye from a book called The Art of Seeing, a guide to developing your inner vision. One path is looking for a blip on a screen, the other is trying to open a door within the mind itself.
All right, first up, let's put on our lab coats. We're diving into the scientific approach. When researchers hear these incredible claims, they don't just, take someone's word for it. They're looking for something they can measure, something physical, inside the most complicated thing in the known universe, your brain.
So, the big tool they use for this is the fMRI. The simplest way to think about it is like a live-action heat map for your brain. When a part of your brain starts working harder on something, it calls for more oxygen, right? That means more blood rushes to that area. The fMRI machine is brilliant because it can spot those changes in blood flow, showing scientists which parts of the brain are lighting up and when.
So check this out. A study, which you can find right on the U.S. National Institutes of Health website, decided to put this to the ultimate test. Their goal was super clear. Let's take a guy named Gerard Senhay, a professional mentalist who claims to have telepathic abilities, stick him in an fMRI, and see if we can actually find the brain's fingerprint for telepathy.
Now, the scientists weren't just guessing. Based on other studies, they had some ideas about where to look. Past research pointed towards the right side of the brain and some specific regions that lit up during experiments on, get this, distant intentionality. They were looking for a eureka moment in the brain scan. But what did they find? Well, in this specific experiment with this one person, they didn't find a clear, repeatable signal that screamed telepathy. The hunt for a definitive scientific signal, at least in this case, came up empty.
Okay, let's do a complete 180. We're taking off the lab coat and stepping out of that clinical, data-driven world and into something much more personal. We're now looking at the practitioner's path, where the goal isn't about finding external proof, but about developing an internal sense, what many people call opening the third eye.
So, what is this third eye anyway? Well, in a lot of spiritual traditions, it's called the Ajna chakra. It's thought of as an energy center located right about here, between your eyebrows. Now, this isn't a physical eye with a lens and a retina. It's more of a concept, the focal point for your intuition, for seeing things beyond the physical world.
And this diagram really helps you see what we're talking about. It shows the third eye, or ajna, as one of 7 main energy hubs, or chakras, that are believed to run up the center of the body. For someone trying to become clairvoyant, learning to work with this specific energy center is pretty much the whole game.
And what do people who've, opened this inner eye claim to see? Well, the list is pretty wild. They talk about seeing auras, which are described as colored energy fields around living things. They report seeing spirits, anything from angels to ghosts. They talk about sensing places of power, or getting psychic messages that play out like little movies in their heads.
Okay, so this is where it gets really practical. It's not just about believing it, it's about doing it. While science is about observing, this path is all about training. So what does that training actually look like? Let's check out a couple of the core exercises.
A huge one, an absolute fundamental, is a practice called grounding. The idea here is to get yourself into a stable, centered state. You actually visualize a kind of energy cord running from your body deep into the center of the earth. You use it to release any scattered, nervous energy, and then you visualize this gold sun to call your own energy back to you. The whole point is to clear out the mental noise before you try to tune into anything else.
Now here's another really structured technique. It's all about using affirmations to get past your own self-doubt. You come up with a statement like I, and you say your name, trust my intuition. But here's the key, step 4. As you write this over and over, you also write down every single negative thought or feeling that pops up. The this is dumb or this will never work voice. The idea is that by doing this day after day, you face that inner critic until it finally quiets down.
So wow,
We've just walked through two completely different universes, right? One is full of machines and data analysis, the other is all about meditation and internal feelings. Both of them, though, are completely obsessed with the same giant mystery. So let's put them right next to each other and see how they stack up.
This chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. Science's goal is objective proof. The intuitive practice's goal is to develop a subjective skill. The tool for one is a multi-million-dollar scanner, for the other, it's the third eye. The evidence is either a blip on a brain scan or a deeply personal experience. It's like they're trying to describe the same mountain, but one is speaking in the language of math, and the other is speaking in poetry.
But here's the thing, and this is what's so fascinating. Underneath all those differences, they both come from the exact same place. They're both driven by this incredibly deep, incredibly human desire to figure out what consciousness even is. What are we? What are the limits of our minds?
And really, it all boils down to this one massive question, the one that both science and spirituality are ultimately trying to answer. Is your consciousness something that your brain creates from scratch, like a generator making electricity? Or is your brain more like a TV set, an incredibly complex antenna that's simply receiving a broadcast that's already out there? And that right there is the mystery at the heart of it all.